This video is for lesson 4.3c. We're going to be creating and solving equations, so we're really going to see the applications of the equations that we've been solving throughout this unit and this chapter. So the main steps that you need to follow when we're doing these type of problems here is you need to think and understand what the problem is asking. If you understand the problem, the equations are going to be much easier to come up with. You need to make a plan and clearly communicate what your equation will look like, what you plan to do. You need to define your variables, for example, and we've already actually seen examples of that in the previous unit, but now we're going to put it in a bit of a different format. Then we need to carry out our plan and then verify. So many times before you move on to another problem, on a test, quiz, assessment, or anything really in real life, you just got to make sure that your answer actually makes sense. And the way to understand if your answer is reasonable or not is really to understand what the problem's asking. So we'll do example 1 together. An author is paid $5,000. In addition, he receives a royalty of $1.25 for every book sold. Write an equation to represent the number of books that have to be sold for the author to earn $10,000. So our first step is going to be to define our variables. So what we're going to do is we're going to let y represent the total earnings. And we're going to put our unit down as well. The total earnings will be in dollars. And our other variable is going to be, if we look at our question carefully, $1.25 for every book sold. Every book sold. So we're going to let x represent the number of books that are sold. And so what we're going to do with this is we're going to write a general equation that lets us figure out how much this author earns for a certain number of books sold. And then afterwards, we're going to go and do the actual problem, which is to figure out, well, how many books do you need to sell to get $10,000? So our general equation would look something like this. The earnings, y, is equal to $1.25, so 1.25. There's a point there, just in case you can't see it. X, meaning $1.25 for every book sold. So if there's 1 sold, it's $1.25. 2 sold, it's 2 times 1.25, so on and so forth. But in addition to that, the author was also paid $5,000. So this is an equation to calculate the earnings based on the number of books sold. We have the flat $5,000 payment, that was the one-time payment that was made, and then $1.25 for each additional book sold on top of that. So now what we can do is we can go figure out how many books must have sold to earn $10,000. So $10,000, that's our earning. Which variable is that? Well, that's variable y. So what we do is we replace that y by 10,000, and then we solve for the number of books sold using the inverse operations. So I'll do the first step here. We have $10,000 earned. Replacing the y there by that is equal to 1.25 x plus 5,000. And now we're going to solve for x by doing the inverse operation. So I'll do 10,000 minus 5,000 is equal to 1.25x plus 5,000 minus 5,000. So the reason I did minus 5,000 was to get rid of the 5,000 and to isolate x. So that's going to give us 5,000. 10,000 minus 5,000 is 5,000. Is equal to 1.25x. 5,000 minus 5,000 is 0, so just 1.25x. And then we can do the inverse operation of a multiplication, which is a division. So we can divide by 1.25 on both sides. Like this. 1.25 cancels out because that's 1 when you have a numerator and denominator. 5,000 divided by 1.25, if you put that in your calculator, you get x is equal to 4,000. So we need to write a therefore statement. Therefore, he needs to sell $4,000 books. To earn $10,000. So what we did here is we defined our variables, we wrote a general equation, and then we solved the problem based on the question being asked. So how many books need to be sold to make $10,000 total? And so we replaced our y by our 10,000. And then we solved using the inverse operations that we learned about earlier. Before we move on to the next question, I just want to touch upon the equation that we wrote here. The equation y is equal to 1.25x plus 5,000 is a special format. I'm going to briefly touch upon it because we're going to see it in more detail in the next unit. It's in the format y is equal to mx plus b. B represents a flat rate, like a one-time payment or fee. So I should say a flat fee as opposed to flat rate. So it's a one-time payment or fee. It's not a variable, it's a constant. So our 5,000 is our B in this case. M represents our rate. It's how much you go up or down by for every value of x that you go up or down by. So our M in our case was 1.25. The author goes up by 1.25 for every book sold. So this is a special type of equation called a linear equation. In the next unit, when we do some graphing, we're going to see that a linear equation on a graph is essentially, well, just that, a line. So for every book sold, the amount of earnings go up. And so it's a nice straight line. And basically, the more steep the line, the bigger that rate. So if the author made more money per book sold, the line would be steeper. And if the author made less money per book sold, then the line would be, well, less steep. And the lines can go down as well because sometimes you might be paying instead of getting money. So the special format is y is equal to mx plus b. M is our rate. B is our flat one-time fee. We're going to call it that for now. And then x is just kind of the number of units sold or whatever be the case in the question. So let's go to example 2. Clown College rents educational videos for $5 each and has no membership fee. Clown United rents educational videos for $4.50 each and has a $5 membership fee. So we have two different companies here, and we need to write two equations to represent each company's rental charge. So let's go write our variables, what they're going to represent. So let x represent the number of videos rented. Number of videos rented. and let y be the total charge per year. Total charge. So again, we have a cost for the videos rented, so that's why I said X would be the number of videos rented. And then Y is going to be how much does that college charge you based on everything that they're making you pay for. And so we have to write our equations. We're going to write an equation for Clown College, and we're going to write an equation for Clown United. So for Clown College, I'm just going to abbreviate that to CC. I'll call that equation 1. So our total charge will be Y is equal to, Clown College just does $5 for every video. So there's no flat fee, it's just 5 times X. So in Y is equal to MX plus B, the 5 would be our M, and B would actually be 0. It's like saying plus 0 because there's no membership fee. And then over here we have Clown United, so we'll call that CU, and we'll call that equation number 2. So our total charges from the college will be, or from Clown United will be Y is equal to, they have a little bit of a lower cost per video, $4.50 for each video. So 450X, that's our M. And their B, on the other hand, is higher. They have a $5 membership fee that you have to pay one time, that you're just paying once upon joining probably. So 4.5X plus 5 is the equation for the charges that Clown United would have. So now we go to question B. If a clown rents 25 videos for the year, which company should she choose? So what we're going to do is we are going to plug 25 into our equations to see which one ends up being the best price for this clown. So we're going to go with an X value of 25. So we're going to let X equals 25. And we're going to do that for each equation. We're going to put the Clown College, that's equation 1. So Y is equal to 5X. So we're going to replace our X by 25. And that will give us $125. Put that unit down. For Clown United, we have Y is equal to 450 times 25 plus the $5 membership fee. And so 450 times 25 plus the $5 is going to be equal to $117.5. So $117.50. So based on this information, we can tell that Clown United is the better company to choose. So therefore, CU should be chosen because it's a cheaper value, a smaller value. So what we're going to do in the next video is part C. When do both companies charge the same amount? And so make sure you understand the previous concepts we just discussed. Try part C out before taking a look at the next video. And then you can go take a look at it, see if you were on the right track, to see if you followed the proper format and had the right answers.